How's everybody doing out there? Can you hear me? Yeah. All right. As you know, my name is Melendi. Even though we are currently living in the golden age of tobacco, where some of the best cigars and pipe tobaccos that have ever been blended and produced, a storm is brewing on the horizon. I could call it a sort of perfect storm. This is a storm so powerful that it threatens our very livelihoods and seeks to destroy our passions and the very culture of tobacco. Imagine for a second the weather forecasters telling you a week in advance that a storm will hit your town and destroy everything you own and have worked for, unless you listen to their instructions to protect your home and family. Would you pay attention and follow their advice? Of course you would. Only a fool would ignore the warnings and go on about their business. My friends, we are the fools. And as these clouds have continued to advance in us, we have done nothing to defend ourselves. The anti-smoking movement started as a small grassroots effort many years ago, and because of our complacency and our trying to stay under the radar to avoid being targeted, the very real fear of tobacco prohibition is at our shores. The anti-smoking zealots threw the first, second, third, fourth, 10th punches. How many punches are you willing to take before you're pummeled to death? How many punches before you step up to fight back? Are we wimps or are we professional tobacconists? Enough is enough. Those in the industry who know my family and me know that my tobacco heritage goes back over 100 years. And it saddens me that as a fourth-generation Cuban tobacconist, I have to fight tooth and nail to protect my business, livelihood, and passion. I would much rather concentrate on what I do best, which is to sell fine premium tobacco to adults who are willing to be part of the brother and sisterhood of the leaf. The business that I run, Concha, is located in New York City. We have been there for almost 46 years. New York has become, in a very short period of time, the front lines of this war. We have already seen tobacco tax increases, which now stand at 75%. We've already seen smoking bans, city and statewide, as well as newly enacted signage laws backed by the New York City Board of Health. This new legislation requires nothing short of pornographic signs to be posted throughout the shop showing diseased lungs, etc., in an attempt to discourage the smoking of cigars and pipes. There's also the ban of all flavored tobacco, which is currently a city law which took effect at the end of February, but due to our efforts, has yet to be enforced because of regulatory issues. In addition, there will soon be a version that will be voted on at the state level, which we are currently blocking at the moment, and they're not even looking at that at this very point in time. In addition, the signage law is already on the books, and if we don't act soon, the flavor ban will be extended to the entire state. Everything I just mentioned is a reality or is about to become a reality. My friends, if you think it can't get any worse, you are so wrong. There's already talk about an outside smoking ban, and once the smoking zealots open that door, they will continue to push for further action. And then you can be assured that they will ban all indoor smoking, including smoking in your shops and tobacco bars. How about FDA regulation of nicotine levels in all tobacco, including cigars and pipes tobaccos? Can't happen, you say? Well, on that point, you're probably right. It can't happen because most manufacturers are not equipped to deal with that type of requirement. In addition, the money needed would make adherence to the legal guidelines cost prohibitive, and this does not even approach the problem of controlling nicotine limits in a brand with different sizes while not affecting the blend. The manufacturers will not be able to do what is required of them, but they will be required to do it anyway. Game over. Scary, isn't it? But it doesn't have to be this way. However, it will continue until we as an industry crawl out from under the rocks and form a unified front with a clear mission. We must educate legislators and fight unfair laws if we are to stop this prohibition by increments. And you must be assured, if the other side has its way, they will not stop until we are exterminated. As a tobacconist, I can no longer stand on the sidelines and do nothing. I hope that you feel the same way. My fellow tobacconists, as well as manufacturers, if you care about your businesses, this industry, and our passion for the leaf, we must stop the senseless infighting and hidden agendas. We must unite our army and put an end to the harassment, persecution, and discrimination of our businesses and livelihood. And out of this harassment, persecution, and discrimination to our businesses, the New York Tobacconist Association was born. Like the quote from The Art of War by Sun Tzu, confront them with annihilation, and they will then survive. Plunge them into a deadly situation, and they will then live. When people fall into danger, they are then able to strive for victory. The day for that victory has come, my fellow tobacconists. The days of being bullied and beaten down is over. It is now time to break the chains and take back what is rightfully yours and stand up for yourselves. No matter how difficult or impossible a situation may be or seem to be, it is paramount that we stay together and focused. Remember that a war is fought with many battles, and just because you lose a battle does not mean you give up. You do the exact opposite. You regroup, you re-strategize, you gather your resources, you build your alliances, and increase your army, and you will find that solution that will bring you victory. As president of the New York Tobacconist Association, an organization that was officially formed on January 27, 2010, out of necessity, as well as forming a unified voice at both the state and city levels in reference to all tobacco issues in the state of New York. Well, actually, the whole idea really started in the fourth quarter of last year, 2009. And I'd just like to say to Glenn Luke, who was vital in our formation, thank you very much, for without Glenn or the CRA, this would have been very difficult. Our unity and focus, we brought together the retailers and manufacturers together to make our voice stronger and gather the resources to help fight this war. We knew right from the beginning that even though we started as a city group, that wasn't going to work. We needed to go statewide. So that's what we did. We incorporated the whole state of New York into our group, and we took the retailers 2 times to Albany to fight for our rights. We raised money to fuel our campaign with memberships from the retailers, contributions from the manufacturers, and soon to be fundraising to raise even more money. We're able to sustain our campaign. We worked together with the trade organizations, the IPCPR, Gary Pesh and the board, very instrumental in helping us financially and both getting the word out there through their membership. The work of our organization is ongoing, and it will be, and it will never stop, and we must keep fighting. In terms of what we've accomplished, we were instrumental in halting right now the ban on flavored tobacco at the state level. And even though that there's a law in the city about flavored tobacco, the rules of enforcement are still being worked out, and I feel very confident that the tobacco shops in the city of New York will be exempt from this law. We're working closer and closer to making that a reality. We were able to lower the proposed tax from 90 to 75%, which in my opinion is not really a victory, but it shows Albany, it shows that Albany is willing to listen. And we as a retail organization just introduced about a week ago Bill S-8459, sponsored by Senator Craig Johnson, that introduces a $1 cap to the OTP tax. And just last week, I was with the governor's office, and even though at first they were reluctant to do a cap, they are now beginning to embrace the idea even more, and I believe that on our ongoing fight, we will be able to turn the tides back and implement a cap. It might take a couple of months, maybe 4 months, maybe 8 months, but we're determined to get it done. We will get it done. And of course, the MYTA will work together with the manufacturers in both regulatory matters and special projects. In closing, I strongly encourage all retailers to form their own state organizations and all manufacturers to support these state organizations, and all national trade organizations to support and form alliances to these state organizations. The time has come to put aside your differences and join your colleagues in what will become the biggest fight of your professional careers and livelihood. The battle cries have been sounded. Welcome to the dark age of tobacco. Failure is not an option. Thank you.